Holy crap, kids. It's a Halloween miracle. The ghastly creatures and strange specters that come out but once a year, clawing their way from eternal slumber, rising in fury and violent envy as the living mock them with their celebrations. Costume dancing and tricks and treats, observed silently from the darkness by those deprived of what the f*** are you wearing?
You like it?
No. No, I don't like it.
I got this for $12 at the Spirit Halloween on level 16.
Oh man, they closed down the stretching department?
Yeah, budget cuts and rights issues.
That looks terrible.
It came with this.
Yeah, whatever. Just let me know when Diddy gets here. I'm over here trying to come up with some games to do for Halloween, and if I do another FPS game, I'm gonna jump straight into the pit, and then they're just gonna revive me and send me back here to play like Hellbusters 2 or something or whatever, I don't know. Get this shit out of here. We're not shooting anything today, kids. We're slicing, we're dicing, we're doing exploration adventures. We're doing one of my absolute favorite games ever, Castlevania Symphony of the Night. You know, that one I've referenced a bunch in these videos before. I was thinking about finding a game with a big, recognizable monster, right? Your Frankensteins, your Dracula, your Wolfmen. But what if I did a game that has all the monsters? And no shooting? No, it's not a roundup. In the dark days of the mid to late 90s, when consoles had just broken through that 3D barrier, so everything looked like garbage for about 5 years, everybody expected the legendary Castlevania series to follow suit. And it did, on the Nintendo 64. Castlevania had branched out from Nintendo consoles a couple of times before, like with Bloodlines on the Genesis, which is a cool game. No hate for that one here. I've never been too interested in the classic Vanias. I respect them, you know. Besides the jumping controls, I never really liked those. There was another Castlevania game, lauded by many as one of the best entries in the series, called Rondo of Blood, which would later be sent through some kind of industrial crushing machine to make a port on the Super Nintendo called Dracula X. Rondo of Blood was on the PC Engine, which is a console, also known as the TurboGrafx 16. It told the story of Richter Belmont, the newest and most powerful vampire killer in the Belmont line, and because the forces of evil are stupid and didn't get the point the first 10 times, an evil priest named Shaft. What joke can I possibly make about that man's name that hasn't been made in every video covering either Rondo or Symphony? His name is fucking Shaft. Shaft sacrifices a virgin, resurrects Dracula again, and then his evil army kidnaps Richter's girlfriend Annette, as if Richter needed more motivation to go kill Dracula aside from his last name. This, strangely, is where Symphony of the Night begins. This game throws you into the prologue called Final Stage Bloodlines. I want to go back in time and see people's reactions to this. I think it's fucking genius and insane for reasons I'll explain in a bit, because we have to get to the game's most infamous moments, which happen within the first 5 minutes. Now, even if you haven't played this game, the next part may be familiar, as its mimetic potential hasn't diminished in almost 30 years.
Die, monster! You don't belong in this world!
From the first line, you know that this is going to be a perfectly cromulent translation, accompanied by some of the best voice acting this side of the Pacific. Anyone who hates this voice acting hates fun.
It was not by my hand that I'm once again given flesh. I was called here by humans who wish to pay me tribute.
Oh yeah, I'm showing all of this.
Tribute? You steal men's souls and make them your slaves.
Perhaps the same could be said of all religions.
Your words are as empty as your soul. Mankind ill needs a savior such as you.
Aw, kids, it's coming. It's coming.
What is a man? A miserable little pile of secrets. But enough talk. Have at you!
Now, the game is starting off with a retelling of the final fight from Rondo, which is not quite like this, and is way harder. And you can't even lose this fight because your friend Maria will come in and do some magic to make you invincible if you fuck it up. But I'm not going to do that because despite Richter only being in this part of the story, he has a lot of different moves that make this fight a joke. Make it rain, Belmont. Oh, he's transformed into a second phase. This is called an item crash, and it's something Richter can do with his sub-weapons. It's broken. You'd probably never know this when you picked up this game, and then you'd fuck around and Maria, Annette's sister, would come out and do her stuff, and there's no way to lose this fight. However, This game hasn't quite put all its cards on the table yet, because despite starting like a supercharged classic Castlevania game, this is an exploration-focused RPG, and the only time you see the old vampire killer again is if you unlock Richter mode and play the campaign like that, which I'm not really doing for this video, but I did grab some footage. Depending on how you do this fight, it'll give you different buffs in the main campaign. In this particular playthrough, I met a couple of prerequisites that'll give me some bonuses later. One, I beat Dracula with half or more of my health, which gives me a strength boost. I collected more than 40 hearts before fighting Dracula, so I get an intelligence boost and a neutron bomb in my inventory when I start the game proper. Yes, a neutron bomb in this video game that takes place at the end of the 18th century. Why not? I'm gonna save it for something special. And I also get a +1 buff to every stat because I beat Dracula in less than a minute. I know this sounds complicated, and it is, unnecessarily so, and also there's nothing anywhere in the manual about it. This happens often. See, the developers of Symphony of the Night, including initial director Toru Hagahara, then second-half director Koji Igarashi, wanted to make a different kind of Castlevania game. We were still in a period where every Castlevania game was basically an iteration on the original. A vampire hunter, usually of the Belmont clan, but sometimes a Morris or a Lacard, jumps around with very little air control and slaps monsters with a whip. It's all very Hammer horror inspired, drawing on every monster that ever existed. The first game, and later in this one, you'll face off against Dracula, Frankenstein's monster, Medusa, a mummy, death itself, and you can see the influence in the beautiful sprite work and backgrounds, which are now rendered with the power of a 32-bit console, letting the whole thing shine with beautiful, fluid animations, while everyone else was chasing 3D polygonal graphics. And now the gameplay would change too, causing a massive shift in how Castlevania games would work. There were still 3D action games coming out on the Nintendo 64 and later the PS2, PS3, 360, and even PC. But that guy I mentioned before, Koji Igarashi, more commonly known as Iga, was heading up a little development team that would continue making 2D Metroidvanias after Symphony, mostly for handheld consoles. And there are a lot more of those than the Devil May Cry ripoffs that would come later. Iga and that team would continue to make these kinds of games until 2008 with Order of Ecclesia, and like 90% of those games are absolute fucking bangers. Konami, being Konami, re-released the DS trilogy and the GBA trilogy for modern consoles. Also being Konami, they re-released Symphony of the Night on like every platform except for the Switch, because they thought it would be just fine to release a mobile port for iOS and Android and not that incredibly popular mobile console that would print them fucking money. You know, let's get some of Konami's bullshit out of the way right now, because when they did re-release Symphony, you know what they did? They re-recorded the dialogue. You know, the beautifully dumb, poorly translated, but memorable voice acting that you guys heard a few minutes ago? Konami killed it and will only sell you that version. Because they're stupid. Ubisoft, EA, Activision, Blizzard, those studios are evil, and would probably resurrect Dracula themselves if it made the shareholders money. But Konami might be the dumbest publisher. Do I even have to explain why? I don't even have to mention PT or Kojima. They stopped making these kinds of Castlevania games and tossed Iga into the mines to work on whatever social games nobody remembers. So Iga, inspired by Kenji Inafune, made his own Kickstarter to crowdfund a new game. Inafune did this, and the result was Mighty Number 9.
And make the bad guys cry like an anime fan on prom night.
That didn't go well, so instead of fucking everything up, Iga decided to use the wealth of Kickstarter money from fans to put out Bloodstained Ritual of the Night, which is just his own Castlevania with blackjack and hookers.
それで新しいプランを全世界のパブリッシャーにプレゼンしたわけです。ところがそれではビジネスにならないと言われました。納得がない!
And they were wrong, because he raised over $5 million on Kickstarter. And instead of putting out a mid-to-trash game that nobody wanted, he and his team made something awesome that everyone loved and it met all the Kickstarter goals. The balls on this man. See all that money, Konami? That could have been yours if you weren't stupid. That's what I call erotic violence.
Hit the lever!
So you've killed Dracula, again. This time for real. It's not for real. Dracula comes back like 100 more times. I think it takes until Julius Belmont to put him down for good-ish in 1999. However, 4 years later, Richter mysteriously vanishes and Maria goes looking for him. Then Dracula's castle suddenly appears again. Forget about her though, because we gotta talk about Alucard. Adrian Fahrenheit Tepish, son of Dracula, a half-human vampire who went into a self-induced sleep after helping out in Castlevania 3, suddenly wakes up because there's evil afoot. And here's where things get interesting. Alucard doesn't have a whip. You might care about that if the game didn't have one of the best introductions of any video game ever made that makes me feel tingly every time I play it. He speeds in like a cracked-out madman and starts to easily murder these wargs that are like at least 18 or 19 perilous warps, I tell you what. The sounds, the animation, the music, every bit of it flexing as if to say, yeah, we don't have to worry about storage limitations on cartridges anymore. This music, which is uniformly incredible across the board, was composed by series mainstay Michiru Yamane, who just kept on making incredible Castlevania soundtracks even when she was limited by cartridge size. Alucard is currently an unstoppable force, and this one intro section shows you why in the show they fillet the character so much. The Netflix series is so down bad for Alucard that none of you notice that he's the only character that actually kills Dracula. They locked lips onto that Damphir Dong so hard his intelligence stats went down. You run through a couple of these lavishly detailed rooms full of beautiful pixel art, massacring dozens of monsters. You're a powerhouse. But you ever get cornered at a family party by one of your dad's friends who's creepy and weird and they take all your cool weapons away? Yeah, that's death. Yes, that death. The Grim Reaper, a recurring boss in Castlevania games who's subservient to Dracula. Death itself serves Dracula. The Codex describes him as Dracula's close friend, and he's a total hard-on about it.
I've come to put an end to this.
Still befriending mortals. I'll not ask you to return to our side, but I demand you cease your attack.
Nah.
I will not.
You shall regret those words. We will meet again.
What?
Death steals all of your cool gear and weapons and leaves you with nothing, except a neutron bomb, which won't be as useful as you think. A little more about the sheer fucking beauty of this game and the attention to detail. Look at this area. All the way in the background, that's where Richter started in the prologue. That's the end of the castle. Below it, impaled bodies, which is very true to Dracula's origins. The game is full of little details like this. I punch a skeleton to death and get a short sword, which is a poor excuse for a weapon. And so is red rust, which I also get here. We'll use red rust, like once, you'll see. I step into the nearby save room, which is one of the few places you can tell that I'm running this game upscaled. The 3D models that the game uses for props occasionally, like for doors, save rooms, they look a little different now. We're doing nearest neighbor upscaling, none of that blurry shit. If you see blur, blame YouTube. And here's where you really start to get into it. You've got a couple of items here, so the inventory system isn't a clogged mess of crap yet, full of stuff you don't need and can't sell to the shop, plus a long list of artifacts, stats on strength, constitution, intelligence, luck, attack, and defense, as well as 7 different slots that let you equip hundreds of different items that'll affect those stats. 2 of those are your right and left hands. You can equip whatever in these slots. 2 swords? Sure. Unless you're carrying one of the rarer two-handed swords. Or a shield, but nah, shields do have a purpose in this game, but I don't use them to block attacks. It's not necessary. Dodge, don't block. That's how I avoid damage. See, right here. Leather shield? Nah, garbage. Get it out of here. Exploit the game's animations to jump, slash, then land and quickly deliver another slash. Sections of this castle are split up with load zones, and we've entered the first of these, the Alchemy Laboratory. Here we're introduced to enemies that can poison you, which is a temporary annoyance, and you'll collect plenty of anti-venom throughout the game. The 2 major status effects that can screw you over are Poison and Curse, both of which have their own items to remedy them, which you'll have a pile of in your inventory by the end. Take note of the completely unmarked secret breakable walls, a Castlevania tradition. These 2 don't have any meat in them, just an upgrade to your HP and heart capacity. Hearts fuel your secondary attacks. Like first you get the classic throwing dagger, and then you get my favorite, the axe, which I know, that sounds kinda boring, right? You get it right before the first proper boss fight against Slagra and Gaibon. The axe is useful here as it flies upwards in an arc. I think it's the most practical of the sub-weapons, which include the dagger, the axe, the stopwatch, the holy water, the Bible, the cross, and the rest. Get in the comments to tell me how good the Agunia is, kids. But don't you dare tell me the rebound stone is worth a pint of piss. I do hate these two. Not because they're difficult, because they're not. I hate the way they move, and how this shield fools you into thinking it'll be useful. Now, on to the library. As you progress, you start to see the scope of this game and how you're going to be spending a lot of time exploring and encountering different enemies. And I mean lots of different enemies. There's like 150 different enemy types in Symphony of the Night, and only a dozen of them are quick and dirty palette swaps. The designers envisioned a game with a bigger scale than previous games in the series, with more replayability. So what they did was rip off Metroid. But they did it so well that Vania made it into the genre's name. The first thing you're supposed to do is make your way to the library, but you gotta cut through the marble gallery first. Yeah, suck holy water, you malicious accent table. My absolute favorite part of this game that is the biggest shift away from classic Castlevania games is the way your character moves. Instead of being a leaden golem with a whip, Alucard moves so fluidly and with such fine control that it just feels good, which is really important for a game where you're going to be running around and backtracking a lot. I don't go straight to the library, for petty personal reasons. You see this guy? He used to stop me dead in previous playthroughs. If you want to slash at him forever with your underpowered early game sword, be my guest, but me? Yeah, fuck you. I want to open this path anyway so I don't have to go through the alchemy lab again to get back here. On the way to the library, you pass through the clock room, where Maria's waiting for you.
Wait a moment. You seem human, and yet, what do you here?
I don't know, Maria. What does anyone really do us here? I like to think we were here put on Earth to bring people joy and merriment.
I've come to destroy this castle.
Then we have the same purpose. I'll trust you for now.
Cool, I'll have fun playing as you in the Saturn version one day. A long hallway full of whatever this is. Katie, look it up. No, really, what the fuck is that called? Before I can get to the library, I've got to fight a doppelganger who has all the moves you do, plus ones you haven't even unlocked yet. Remember that useless two-handed sword I got earlier? It curses enemies. So for most of this fight, he's doing almost no damage to me. Poor guy. I'll see you later, and it's going to be even more embarrassing for you then. Now, I know I said I'm going to the library, but I'm not yet. See, there's this big armored bastard here that I'm horribly underleveled against. My sword takes 1 HP off of him. There we go, first death of the game. Now to wait 40 seconds until I can load the game again because dying is a slow and punishing process. I still kill him. Slowly and carefully. And unlike most enemies in this game, he doesn't respawn when you leave the room. He's gone forever, which is good, because I need to exit this room the same way. So normally you'd have to wait until you get the mist form so that you can pass through these bars down here. We're not doing that because if you crouch down right here in this broken wall for like 15 seconds... This piece of armor is the Mirror Cuirass, which protects you against being turned to stone, which you want. Oh god, do you want this armor before you go into the clock tower? The other item you get is the Jewel Knuckles. See, Alucard, like we saw before, can just punch enemies in the face. And no, I'm not even getting into the aerial attack or the special attacks some of these fist weapons have. This video's gonna be long enough, I promise. So on top of the damage you're already doing from a punch that levels up, you also have another weapon adding damage on top of that. How broken is this? Very. Open an elevator to grab yourself the wolf transformation that isn't particularly useful yet, and now we can finally enter the library. Ah yes, the library, your source of rare books, uncursed potions, and one item that you need to explore any more of the castle. And I'm not talking about buying a map, forget that, waste of money.
I need your help.
Young master, I cannot aid one who opposes the master.
You won't go unrewarded.
Yes, for money and precious gems, the librarian will sell you whatever he's got that might help you take down Dracula and his minions. He doesn't give a fuck, it's not like Dracula's ever resurrected for very long. Unlike in later games, you can't sell items from your inventory, just gems that you pick up. This is the first save on this virtual memory card, so don't expect me to spend 20 hours grinding to afford the duplicator. You get the Jewel of Open, which will get you through these glowing doors around the castle. This focuses the early game a little bit so you're not too overwhelmed with the size of the castle. Eventually you can buy spells too, which use button combos to do special moves. You don't have to buy them if you already know them. Check this out. Yeah, Soul Steal just gives you some free health off of broken light fixtures, why not? You can also do this little teleport fire attack, engage dark metamorphosis, and a bunch of others. This game has a seemingly bottomless well of stuff you can do. I don't even know all of its secrets. I jump onto one of the fast travel teleporters, which... they're not good. They'd be improved in later games, but for right now you can't even select where you want to go on the map. It cycles through them. I've only unlocked 2 of them, so it's back to the starting area again. I don't mind, I love this track. Now I decide to take a route through the Royal Chapel, which, I mean, having a church in your vampire castle seems like a weird thing, right? There's a long staircase to ascend here with fire-spitting bone pillars and armored knights. It'd be easier to go at it from the opposite direction like I do later. What rolls downstairs, kills monsters in pairs, rolls over the corner guard. It's good for attacks, respawns when you're back. It's a big spike ball placed precariously at the top of the chapel. I'm really taking the long way up these stairs because I want to get to the next upgrade, the Leap Stone, which is past these towers, and the other way I can get here is to go through the clock tower first. And fuck that. But first I gotta deal with this giant bird.
Impressive. You're very strong.
Damn right I am. Maria, right? You like strong half-men? You wanna... oh god, no, wait, she's 17. And Alucard's like 400. Ew.
What is it you want? You didn't come here to tell me that.
You're right. Do you know the name Richter Belmont?
Of the Belmont clan? Of course, but...
He disappeared about a year ago, and I'm sure he's here. If you see him, please let me know.
As you wish, my lady.
Thank you. So, you do know how to be a gentleman?
Of course. Have you seen the cape? Here's where we get the Leap Stone, which lets you double jump. I don't know if it's the most important upgrade, but it sure feels like it. Let me explain. This is the first, ooh, let me go back and grab that power-up. The one where you know there's places in the castle you just couldn't quite reach before, and now you go back to those and collect the rewards. Not all of them are good, though I'd be an idiot to turn away any HP upgrade. So I go back to the Marble Gallery, open the underground areas, and make my way back to the library. Yes, again. Of course, otherwise I'd miss out on this. The library has an important upgrade that'll help you progress, but that's not why I'm going there. I need to double jump over here and then push this bookshelf and get... the Holy Rod. This thing rules. It seems to have a huge attack radius and it works really well against the forces of darkness. You know, the ones that infest this whole castle. It's not exactly an overpowered one-and-done kind of weapon, it's just very, very useful going forward until you get stronger holy weapons. Really useful against this next boss. Oh right, I need the mist power. I could go get it now, but I'm not going to. I think I'm ready to clear out the clock tower. Anybody who's played any Castlevania game should rightfully be wary of the clock tower. It's a platforming nightmare in every single entry. Sure, Symphony might be easier than your average Castlevania game, and maybe I got a piece of armor that prevents Medusa heads from turning me to stone. Now that I think about it, this clock tower isn't actually that hard, and my worst problem is that Alucard can't swim yet, and water damages him because vampire stuff, blah blah blah. I get a snorkel later, it's fine. I want to clear a path back towards the Castle Keep area where the throne room is, but I have to kill this boss first.
Humiliation.
Okay, into the underground caverns. This playthrough is a little scattered, and that's okay. I like being able to do things in whatever order, go anywhere, explore, collect money, level up, all important things, and like I said, traveling through the castle is a blast. The caverns has one of my favorite little interactions in the whole game. If you push this box over this little crack, yeah, they drown, but also burst into flames. I don't think we ever see that enemy again. We've made them extinct. What you're doing down here, aside from trying to avoid water, is getting this skeleton ape to throw a barrel to destroy a bridge. I don't remember anything in Metroid games being like, get this skeleton ape, not an ape skeleton, to Donkey Kong a barrel at a piece of wood so you can progress to the next area. I sound insane. Oh, frozen shades. They'll be sorry when I have a nice fire sword. This boss here, I don't even really need to fight it. It's a pain, but it does so little damage to me by this point that it might as well not be here. And I do it all for a cool invisible cloak. Alright, abandoned mine, easily the hardest area in this castle. It's important enough to be guarded by friggin' Cerberus, who does not respond well to holy attacks. We've gotten to the point where we can kill monsters pretty easily. Not all of them, mind you, most of them. The way Symphony of the Night is balanced is that the third or fourth time you run through an area, you can kill anything there without having to stop. It makes exploration a lot smoother, compared to a Classicvania where the game is ruthlessly punishing and then it ends with you going to the store to pick up a new Nintendo controller and some tools to patch up the drywall. Rest in peace, fucker. Symphony punishes you just a little, sometimes. And then, in retaliation, you call upon the wrath of heaven, hell, the elder and outer gods, and John Carmack to make the numbers big. On top of bosses and irritating enemies, I also grab my first familiar down here. Because this game isn't satisfied with one character that you level up, you can collect 4 different familiars that all have their own abilities. This demon will attack things, but right now I just need him to press a button.
A switch. Why don't I press it and see?
Yeah, what could be inside here? Titties! I hate her. I don't care how naked she is. The plant stuff is a deal breaker. Still, I whack her with my holy rod, which makes her all hot, and I'm abandoning this joke now in case she's like 15. All this gets me is a ring that kills my defense and raises my attack power. Yeah, okay. As many cool bosses as there are in this game, I gotta give it to Legion here. This is just a showstopper. This is one of those moments when you remember what these 32 bits are all going towards. Hordes of naked zombies on top of a pile of bones in a room full of corpses, and then all the explosions that could possibly be rendered without slowing down the game. It's only the particles that spawn when you get your HP boost at the end of a boss fight that slows the game down. In this version. You get a nice dark sword out of this, though. I still get a sword I like better from a random drop a few minutes later on my way back out. Punch one of these guys and the RNG shines upon me as I pick up the firebrand. Yeah, how do you like me now? Okay, time to meet the oarsman.
I'll take you to a place which might be interesting for you.
That's incredibly suspicious, but he actually helps me because I need to get across this water to get to the merman statue, which will let me summon him in another place across the map.
I'll guide you to meet your destiny.
Why do you sound like you're gonna stab me in the back every time I talk to you? The librarian is way cooler. Okay, I lied about the snorkel before. It's a holy symbol. Sure. Whatever it looks like, I can travel through the water now, so I have to fully explore this area, and all the other flooded areas, and behind the waterfall, a curse upon any developer that puts no secrets behind the waterfall. It is a sacred tradition, but with all this gear, I'm ready to tackle the Colosseum, which you access by going to the central clock room at the right time and going through the left entrance. You can't go up yet, and you can only go through the right path if you got the stopwatch. I don't know how you're supposed to know to do this. I'm pretty sure I was born with the knowledge. In the Colosseum, finally, we meet Richter.
Who are you? Open Hell's Gate. Come forth, my servants. The scent of your blood. You're a Belmont. Crush this flea who invades my castle.
Yeah, sure. Oh, uppercuts? Really, fucker?
I'm certain that was a Belmont. So he says he's the lord of this castle.
It's not going to become any clearer for a while, so I grabbed the form of mist, letting me travel practically anywhere. Most of this castle's already unlocked. First, though, I need to grab the shield rod. You'll see why later. I use a library card to teleport back and sell some gems and grab the Soul of Bat, allowing me to now fly, the last major navigation upgrade in the game. Not much fanfare for such an important item. The Bat Soul is technically the last item you need to finish the game, because now you can fly up those stairs in the Castle Keep and get to Dracula's throne room where the game started. I've got so much to do still. I need to grab the wolf power, then the wolf skill, which lets me traverse the castle like this. Then go to Ulrox's quarters and deal with him. Then get the Echo of Bat. And if some of this is sounding familiar, it's because this is how you access the second half of the game. It's not a secret anymore. Everybody knows about the inverted castle. To get there, however, is a little bit trickier. There's an area of the catacombs that's dark and filled with spikes. It would kill you without being able to fly and see in the dark, which Echo allows you to do so you can grab the spike armor. There may be no more satisfying feeling in a Castlevania game than deleting these fucking spikes by touching them. I gotta go across the castle to do the same thing so I can meet Maria again, who somehow got past the spikes, turned into mist, and had a Jewel of Open. Because that's how I had to get here.
So, did you find Richter?
I don't know if he's the one you're looking for, but I found a Belmont.
Really? So he is here?
But the one I saw was the enemy. He was the lord of this castle.
That can't be true. You're wrong. I must go now.
A very productive conversation. Why don't you tell me about the fucking rings, Maria? Yeah, here's the silver ring, a thing that looks like all the other gems we collect. The gold ring, which you also need, is on the other side of the castle, because of course it is. It's on a ledge in this pit that exists to screw over any new players who don't know it's coming and fall all the way down to the underground. Not me, though, not after the first 6 or 7 times. This save room looks a little weird.
Mother!
Oh, hey, look, it's Alucard's mom. When they burned her at the stake for the crime of vampire boning. They were really regressive back in those days.
Yes, Alucard. Watch me die, and remember always my last words to you.
Yes, Mother.
You must despise humans. They are to be your prey.
What?
Better for them to die than to let them compound their sins. Begin by slaying that one over there.
Oh, no, he's a background object. I think they all are.
No, it wasn't like this.
It wasn't. His mom told him to love humans. For some reason, I don't know, humans made atomic bombs in the Borderlands movie, so...
No, you're not my mother. What kind of demon are you?
You broke free of my spell. I like that. Come here, little boy, and show me what you've got.
Well, nah, I don't feel bad about this one. Eat my holy rod.
That strength, that beauty. You're the son of Lord Dracula.
And then Alucard does the absolute coldest shit.
Death in the dream world will set your soul wandering for eternity, demon.
Wait, I beg of you!
That's what you get for trash-talking his mother. This fight gives us the gold ring. The gold and silver rings have an inscription on them that tells you to wear them in the clock room, which is strange considering how fucking cryptic it is to get them in the first place. I've still got some unfinished business in this castle, like picking up the gravity boots, which lets you do this to the librarian. I'm not implying that Alucard is really forcefully eating ass to get these items. I'm stating as fact that Alucard is eating his ass.
Thank you!
I haven't leveled up enough to get everything, but the Ring of Arcana is good enough. It increases drop rates from enemies, and man will I need that soon. I go back upstairs realizing that I have enough money to purchase Joseph's cloak. You know, just a little bit of money, 30,000 gold. What does it do? Well, tactically nothing. It lets you go into the menu and customize the color of your cape. Oh yeah, purple, definitely. I spend a while running through the castle collecting things I want, like the Sword Familiar, who you're gonna see a lot of as the game progresses because it fucking rules. I didn't realize until this playthrough that he's a 3D object. Now I'm ready.
Why is a Belmont planning the resurrection of Count Dracula?
Count Dracula rises but once every century, and my role is over. If I can resurrect him, then the battle will last for eternity.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense. But enough talk. Have at... Fuck, I forgot you can do that to me now. See what I mean about the Sword Familiar? It kills Richter.
It's over, Belmont.
So the war between humans and vampires finally ends here. What need for the shepherd when the wolves have all gone? My time on this world has come to an end.
I may criticize this game's writing, but it has its moments.
Alucard, how is Richter?
I'm sorry.
I see. Thank you for stopping him. Do you suppose that this too was fate?
Nope. That's the bad ending everybody got in the 90s. I may have skipped the step where I actually wear the rings in the clock room and it opens the heart of the castle, which Maria is also in fucking somehow. She gives you a pair of holy glasses that'll see through Shaft's spell that's controlling Richter. So instead of killing Richter, you just bust Shaft's ball. Look, I'm sorry, the game makes it so easy.
You've defeated me, but all is not yet lost. The resurrection of Count Dracula is at hand.
And then, the Inverted Castle. This game's worst kept secret. Why would you even think to do this? I don't know, but a lot of Castlevania games after this had secret little things that you had to do to get the true ending.
No. What have I done?
Thank you, Alucard, for saving Richter.
Yeah, sure, no problem. He's gonna go fight a resurrected Dracula, right? Right?
No time for small talk. Is the person who controlled you in that castle over there?
You can call him Shaft. I won't laugh. Much.
Maria, take Richter and leave here. I'll finish this.
That's right. Leave everything to me. I got a game to break. No, wait a second. Now I'm ready. Katie, stop it. That's not funny. Welcome to the Inverted Castle. It's a much more treacherous place than the regular one, full of mostly different enemies and a slew of new items to take them down. This is where the game may actually appear hard. It's got the same layout as the castle you've already played, but the design is far more malicious. And a little tedious, I'll admit. I mean, you gotta use the bat form to fly a lot of places because the gravity boots, which I've been using for these super jumps, aren't great for navigation. I haven't talked much about map coverage. In the first castle, you can get a little over 100%. With the second castle, you can do a little over 200%. You don't need that percentage to get the game's best ending. Now, you only need 196% map completion. I've seen things online that lead me to believe that with a glitch you can get up to like 400%. Something to do with the Sword Brothers attack. The Inverted Castle is truly an open world. You can go to any part of the castle you want to. The only thing you really need to get to the final boss at the heart of the castle is 5 items. Pieces of Dracula, which are dropped by 5 bosses that all mirror the stage bosses of the first Castlevania. And collecting pieces of Dracula is straight out of Castlevania 2. You've got the giant bat, the first one I face that's fairly close to the entrance. My gear is so good that it barely damages me. I kill it with the freaking jewel sword, which is another item I picked up in the standard castle by transforming from wolf to bat inside a secret cave so it opened a door. And no, I don't know how anyone would know to do that, okay? But the jewel sword makes enemies drop valuable treasure and has special attack that'll drop coins no matter what. There we go, we've got Vlad's ring. In a few areas, Symphony adds spike traps that don't care if you have armor that breaks spikes. The armor enemies are throwing explosives now. Everything deals way more damage. The clock tower is a nightmare this time around. You know, except I have... It's more of what I expect from a clock tower stage. Enemies are placed more maliciously in order to toss you around like a rag doll. More Medusa heads. Okay, maybe this game has some balance issues. Why would I torture myself with the clock tower again anyway? It's not like there are any bosses in there that need to be put down. I have my reasons. It's because we're going back to the library again. You know what I'm doing. You know exactly what I'm doing. Don't judge me. See, there's some items in this game that aren't hidden in secret rooms or require cryptic processes to find. They require pulling up your sleeves and doing some grinding. And this entrance hallway to the library has one of the greatest treasures in this game. This guy here, the Shmoo, a stupid, useless enemy that goes down with one slash from a mid-tier weapon, drops something very, very special. And very, very broken. Just grinding for this weapon, the Chrysogrim, got me a bunch of gold, 4 level ups, and 5 bowls of ramen noodles. If you thought the Daikatana was a powerful sword, kids, the Chrysogrim, also known as the Sword of the Wind, is made of 100% grade A ultra-pasteurized Wisconsin cheese. Unlike almost all weapons in the game, Alucard doesn't have to stop while attacking with it. The best defense is a good offense, and this sword turns Alucard into a walking garbage disposal. Saying that this sword is overpowered is like saying the super shotgun in Doom 2 has a little bit of a kick to it. Here's how the next boss fight goes. There are still dangers, like the Nova skeleton. Oh, this absolute bastard. He shoots lasers out of his coccyx, by far the most dangerous boner in the game. I remember him hitting me in previous playthroughs for over 100 HP, and you're not gonna see that because I don't go anywhere the fuck near them during attacks. I'm going through the reverse marble gallery to get to the reverse castle entrance, and fuck! Who's doing this? Who is making these machines? Who the fuck built battle bots? Am I getting... shafted?
Actionable pun detected.
You know what? It's more interesting than a plain old electric shock. Oh, I'm gonna feel that tomorrow. And forever. You're not ruining this game for me, goddammit. I love this. I'm the lord of this castle now, bitches. Okay, the final guards don't count. You can fly over them if you want. Oh, there's a Medusa boss? Good thing I still have armor that protects against stoning. I've kinda lost my place. I was on the way to the castle entrance, but I got sidetracked and now I'm in the reverse chapel, which is equally as dickish as the reverse clock tower. The bosses, which are objectively more difficult and have moves that just tear you apart, like look at this. You remember how I said I didn't bother with shields? That's because I think damage mitigation is more important. Like there's this fight where you have to kill evil versions of Trevor Belmont, Sypha Belnades, and Grant Dynasty. One part of this is collecting pieces of Dracula. At the moment, I have 4 of these from the creature, Bat, Mummy, and Medusa. The item from Medusa makes me immune to curses, which makes this all way easier. I don't know if it's the armor I'm wearing or the holy damage resistance potion I took, but they can barely scratch me. I'm not even spamming the Chrysogrim, I'm using the Morgamil. At this point, the sword familiar is killing enemies faster than I am. I'm killing most smaller enemies with the jewel sword to get some cash back, you know? Bosses from the last castle are showing up as regular enemies and they only dropped zircons? Maybe you think the Chrysogrim is a little too OP. Maybe it completely destroys the game's balance. So let's go grab something that's a little less of a vulgar display of power. Which means we're hunting the elusive dodo bird, the rarest creature in the entire game, practically extinct. So... You see that, kids? I find out new shit about this game every time I play it. Look, I know this game has some balance issues, okay? I know. I feel a little bad about it. I feel a little bad not engaging with more skilled combat tactics and just deleting everything with powerful weapons, even if they are in the game and just really hard to get. You see the game fighting back? I don't see the game fighting back. Ha! Right. The rune sword doesn't quite de-atomize enemies as quick as the Chrysogrim, though it does have ridiculous range, covering more than half the screen. I don't know why it spells out the word verboten. Like, am I not supposed to have this? Am I not supposed to level up the sword familiar until it becomes a weapon in my inventory that deals nearly 100 damage? Am I not supposed to kill monsters so hard that the bone snakes they're riding? Bone snakes. I'm not supposed to kill these flea man riders so hard that their bone snakes stick around like ghosts that provide easy dick jokes. I'm not supposed to rune sword these greener naked plant ladies that I detest. Am I not supposed to be wearing a ring that increases rare drops on both hands? I'm just supposed to suffer through a room like this where these god-awful blue Venus weeds put up a shield of vines around them without spending 20 solid minutes of my time grinding for a sword that mitigates that bullshit? I mean, if I was gonna play this without these special items, this would be a total slog. I love this game. This is one of my favorite games. Why would you make me look at it critically, you sons of bitches? Just let me have something, please. Please, just let me have something.
So, you've made it this far. In the name of your father, cease this foolishness.
Not while there's a breath in my body.
Then for the master, I'll feast on your soul this night.
Who's feasting on whose soul now, you undead fuck? You glorified errand boy? You want to know what just happened? Okay. Well, remember when I picked up the shield rod? That's a fun little item that you might not understand the full power of unless you do a button combo with a shield in your other hand. I don't feel good about this. I don't know, but look at this. You can use it with any of the shields. Like here I picked up the Goddess shield, and that'll give you a resistance to darkness. But when you combine it with Alucard's shield, which I picked up again after Death so callously took it away at the beginning and hid it from me, it turns your shield into a wall of pain. For the enemies. For me, I don't know, it just keeps giving me health. Okay, fine, I'll do it with a sword and a darkness resistance potion, but it's not nearly as entertaining. I picked up a holy sword earlier as a much less suggestive alternative to the holy rod. He doesn't even stand a chance. He's death.
I can't believe we just melded in death.
He gives us the last piece we need to get to the final battle at the heart of the castle, but I've still got some exploring to do. This is Galamoth. He's easily the most difficult boss in this game, tossing you around and bombarding you with lightning attacks. Use a lightning resistance potion? Of course. Does it help that much? No. If he corners you, forget it. His head is his weak point, but good luck getting all the way up there. I use the fairy familiar here instead of the sword because she'll auto-use healing items when you're low on health. Or dead. Jesus, come on. You know how much health the Codex says that Galamoth has? Me either, because it's a fucking question mark. I'm not trying to break the game, it just keeps bringing me back. I have too many life apples. I don't want to break it anymore. I don't feel good. I love this game so much. Don't you understand? I know it's broken, and I know how easy this makes it, but haven't you ever loved something broken? Haven't you ever loved someone... I'm sorry, God, I'm sorry. Please stop. What do I even get for killing this ball-busting, totally optional boss? A gas cloud. You know, an upgrade to your mist form. It just... Doppelganger 40? Doppelganger 40? I'm almost done. I need more. I haven't even talked about the wing smash. No, wait, okay, one more thing. What? Okay, let's wrap this up. We've got a Lord of all evil to kill. Again, I don't have 200.6% map completion. I have 198.1% map completion, which is good enough for the best ending. Since I have all 5 pieces of Dracula, I can enter the heart of the castle.
So you are the one who was controlling Belmont?
Yes. I am the dark priest called Shaft. This world must be cleansed in the forge of chaos.
Okay.
Why did you make Belmont lord of this castle?
For centuries, vampire hunters have defeated evil with holy power. But if 2 vampire hunters were to fight each other...
But Belmont's power is supreme among vampire hunters. None other could defeat him.
Exactly. That's why I removed him as a threat, by making him into lord of this castle.
That doesn't make sense.
But your plan has failed.
Has it indeed?
Yeah. Do you see? I don't even have a chance to kill him. This game could be playing itself.
You claim to love the darkness. Go then and dwell there for all eternity.
But my goal is achieved. Count Dracula has come to purify this corrupt world with the searing flames of chaos.
It's not that bad, really.
Well met, my son. It's been a long time.
I was hoping we would not see each other again. I can't allow you to leave here, Father.
You have ever been the ally of humans. Have you forgotten what they did to your mother?
Oh no, he did not just start talking about your mama again.
Dracula, in the name of my mother, I will defeat you again.
Yeah, and I've been saving something for the occasion.
Better watch out. It go boom.
I don't need this. I got 2 swords and water doesn't burn my skin anymore.
Behold my true form and despair!
No, I didn't. I did it right. Didn't I?
Go back whence you came. Trouble the soul of my mother no more.
How is it that I've been so defeated?
I don't know, maybe you should have sent Galamoth.
You have been doomed ever since you lost the ability to love.
Yes, obviously. It was that he can no longer feel love. Not the fact that he leaves powerful artifacts around his house that can kill him really easily.
Sarcasm. For what profit is it to a man if he gains the world and loses his own soul?
I'm amazed this game gave us introspective Dracula, instead of silent holy water target that can be defeated by a broken window. Had Dracula gotten any kind of characterization before this game?
Matthew 16:26, I believe.
Stop quoting Bible verses at me, you.
Your words are as empty as your soul.
Tell me, what were Lisa's last words?
She said, "Do not hate humans. If you cannot live with them, then at least do them no harm, for theirs is already a hard lot." She also said to tell you that she would love you for all of eternity.
Lisa, forgive me. Farewell, my son.
Alucard, what will you do now?
The blood that flows in my veins is cursed. 'Twould be best for this world if I were to disappear forever.
I see.
Farewell, then. We'll not meet again.
Alucard,
Don't you want to go after him, Maria?
I'm sorry. I can't let him disappear from my life.
That's right, you've known him for like 10 hours.
Go after him. Perhaps you can save his haunted soul.
Okay, but she's 17 and he's like 400, and that's the end. Maria goes after Alucard and there's hope, I guess. I don't know, man. I'm exhausted. Is this what it's come to? Having to pick apart games that I love? For what? For content? The algorithm? I'm never going to be able to play this again. I hate this. Couldn't you just hit me with an electric shock or something? Huh?